England, 40 points to nil. Winners over Georgia. I'm still not that sure how I feel about this one. It's a big win, 40 points. It's a bit disappointing that the Georgians couldn't get off the board and never really looked to threaten the English. The weather was a bit tough in terms of the conditions for the players, but yeah, I'll go over some of the key points of the game and some of the stats, and yeah, you guys let me know how you saw it. But yeah, honestly, I'm not sure. Like, obviously, 40 nil is a bit of a hiding, but it was kind of to be expected. That's pretty much where I think the bookmakers thought this one was going to go, and it's gone there, no more, no less. There were a lot of mistakes, but it was bad weather and an England team who, didn't get that chance to really warm up against the Barbars. They had that game against Italy. Georgia's had that one game against Scotland, so maybe two teams that were a little bit underdone in bad conditions, playing out one that was kind of according to the script. I don't know. Especially with all the changes that Eddie Jones made to the team, playing some guys seemingly not in their best positions. But, 40 points to nil. What are you going to say? Could have been more. Could have been more. England had a heap of the ball early. Interestingly, both sides were in their away strips, or the alternative strips. Like, Georgia wasn't in the traditional, like a maroon, and England were in their kind of dark blue, which is a pretty nice kit, to be honest. But yeah, against Georgia in white. So either way, Slade was throwing balls at ankles early. I think it was Joseph that picked it up off his ankles. Took them a while to break the Georgians down, to be honest. Like, although the Georgians got nilled and looked not very threatening on attack, there were periods where defensively they looked really sound. And it's hard because Georgia, I think in the preview video I saw they only played England twice. And we like to talk, someone mentioned in the comments as well, we like to talk a fair bit of criticism anyway about, especially the Pacific Island countries not getting games. The fact that Georgia's only played England twice is pretty bad, and someone else echoed that in the comments, so I echo that thought. It'd be nice to see these teams, obviously the calendar's really, really full, but it'd be nice to see them play a bit more. Georgia needs more games like this if Georgia's going to get better. That's for sure. So, yeah, the Georgian defense held for ages, but they couldn't exit to save their lives. It was both pleasing and tragic at the same time. The defense was holding England out. England went for some cross kick. There was like a knock on by the English trying to create something. But man, the Georgians just couldn't exit. They knocked it on their own goal line. England had a big scrum, which you're thinking that could be a penalty try, but it was just a penalty. Eventually, Willis, after being denied the first time, he gets his try. Launchbury basically just shoved him over, didn't he? It was coming. It was coming for ages, and it's 7 points to nil after 14 minutes. And England were putting in just so many kicks. Georgia didn't really have any pill, man. Like, the English forwards were just dominant. They wanted to get the physical presence over the Georgian guys. And when they got the ball, they would just kick it in behind, and the Georgians weren't really able to exit. So, yeah. Daly had a pass to Johnny Mayout on the right wing. That ended up being a knock-on. So, just those kind of final passes, clinical skills just not quite there. But again, lack of game time, conditions not that conducive to running rugby. So, yeah, 23 minutes. The Georgians actually won a scrum penalty, and I wrote down a note saying, boy, they needed that because they needed a safe way to exit. But they follow that straight up with a missed touch. If you win the penalty, you do the hard bit. You need to make your touch, man. I think every game we've seen this weekend, I think All Blacks Argentina, Scotland against Italy, and now Georgia against England, you've seen a stuff up at that level, which is like, that's a controllable error. That's a coach killing one. I wrote FFS, so you can kind of make of that what you will. England threw passes that were just like drifting forward. And again, yeah, just lacking. So there was only 7 points on the board after all this time. England were definitely all over the Georgians, but just couldn't quite find that key pass. Eventually, they get it done through their maul. Jamie George gets the first of 3 tries. Apparently he is the first England forward to ever score a hat-trick, so congratulations to him, although I think he's pretty much kept it on the down low, saying, look, if it's a maul try, it's a team try, so even if his name's on the board, it's all about the effort of that forward pack. They finally got it right. A big maul from a line out, and it's 14-0 all of a sudden. And then the Georgians followed up by kicking it out. Kicking it dead on the restart. Kicking it out on the full. Not doing themselves any favours. George got another one on 33 minutes. That one was all from Johnny May. Putting another kick through, seemingly of so many kicks through. And the Georgian, defenders just couldn't quite kick it clear. It didn't end up getting much distance on it at all. And, another maul try. And it's 19-0. They did miss that conversion. 37 minutes. They get Daly's try, which is probably, in terms of, you're looking for skill, teamwork. That's, the best example from England. That one was Daly who got the try, but Jonathan Joseph beats his man. I think it's, is it 1 or 2 phases in? From a set play, and Jonathan Joseph's drifting into the midfield a fair bit, to be honest, and he beats his man, gets the pass out to Daly. It's just too easy, good skills, and 26-0 by halftime. Marchant came on for Joseph after that try. It looks like he did something to his leg, so 26-0 at halftime. It's not, they haven't blown them off the park, but they're still looking pretty bloody good, aren't they? Bonus point in the first half, can't complain. It's doing enough. Maybe more than enough. It's really piddling down by the time we get the coverage back for the second half. Absolutely hosing down. And I've said it a million times, if it's that bad on the camera, you can see it when you're sitting on the couch at home, it's doubly bad at the ground. So it must have been really, really hosing down. They get another try from George. It's a pretty ugly one. There's scrum resets. This is on 57 minutes. The opening stanza of that second half's been ugly. The scrum resets galore, and good kick, 33-0. And then the second best try of the game in terms of being easy on the eye, and it's one that is maybe a little bit of individual brilliance. Dan Robson, he gets one on 68. It's just a nice little halfback snipe, isn't it? He shapes the pass, just cuts back in between the Georgian forwards and goes over for a try. I kind of wish he'd started. Because, Ben Youngs has literally got 100 games under his belt. So playing against Georgia at home was not probably going to add a lot to his game. I mean, no, Robson's no spring chicken. He's not exactly inexperienced, but it's just a good thing to get him a start. But anyway, so... and that's it. That's 40-0. I mean, the Georgians did go at one point 10 phases in the second half, but ended up knocking on. But they just didn't have many opportunities. England's dominance was just there throughout the game. Very rarely, if at all, did you really think England were kind of threatened. Not really. Not really. So Georgia wasn't able to bring much in attack. As I said, for large periods, they were able to hold England out. There was not a lot doing in that rainy second half. They did win a scrum penalty, but they were also, dominated a lot up front. Mauls especially were paying real dividends for England. Georgia need more games at this level, that's for sure. England will have a sterner test next week when they face Ireland at home, but you'd also say Ireland will need to be at a better level than they were on Friday, so we'll see how that goes. Georgia, on the other hand, face Wales. Now, Wales are at a bit of an all-time low, at least in recent years. So I wouldn't say that Georgia will be exactly sniffing blood or anything after getting beaten 40 points and not really threatening that much, but they'll be looking to at least get some points on the board and maybe push the score a bit closer than that next week. But in terms of this game, Daly had 43 run meters, beat a defender. Gorgadze, the number 8, had 30 run meters and 2 defenders beaten for Georgia. Tackles, Launchbury made 14 out of 14. That guy is a bit of a machine. Saganadze had 13 out of 13 for Georgia. So it's an interesting one, man. 244 to 139 is the run meters. So it's all England. Defenders beaten 10-11. That's in favour of England. So not much in it. Clean breaks 4-zip in favour of England. Turnovers conceded 14 by England, 16 by Georgia. That's a lot. That's a lot for one game. But as I mentioned, the conditions looked pretty tough. England 99 tackles, Georgia 103. So similar numbers. But then you look at kicks in play, 42-29. So a lot of those Georgian kicks were just trying to get the heck out of their own 22. And a lot of those kicks from England, attacking ones, putting the Georgian back three under all kinds of pressure, not being able to get a whole lot of distance on their exit, and then England just, going again. So, yeah. Lineouts, England 22 from 22, and those conditions deserves a mention. Georgia were 8 from 9. But, yeah, as I said, it's a weird one, how to know how to feel. Like, England didn't exactly set the world alight, but they scored 40 bloody points, so it's not like they were poor. And Georgia maybe pleasing at times defensively, despite conceding 40 points, but on attack, there wasn't much to write home about. But yeah, that's the game. We'll see how they go next week. Bonus point job for England. I think Eddie Jones will still be a bit disappointed and he'll have things to work on, but that's the way coaches always go. We will see how things go next week. You guys let me know your thoughts on this one. England Rugby Store is having 20% off their jerseys. I'll put a link in the description for them if you want to check their jerseys out. You want to pick up one of those Umbro ones, either the blue ones or the traditional white ones. They look pretty good. 20% off is always nice to have rather than paying full price. But anyway, you guys let me know your thoughts on this one, and I'll talk to you again soon. See you later.